Welcome to the podcast. My guest this morning from the Northmor Local School District is Superintendent Chad Redmond. I appreciate having you back. Glad to hear always what's going on over at Northmor. I sometimes kind of look at you guys as a district that sometimes people don't think of because of your location.
Sure.
So that's one of the major reasons why you need more focus.
Okay.
So I got you here, and we're going to get you in focus today here.
Sure. Well, good morning. Thank you, as always, for having me on.
Well, you're more than welcome.
Enjoy coming on and talking about all the wonderful things happening at the Northmor Schools. I find this to be very enjoyable and easy because to talk about great things, it's fun for people.
Well, and you know, I'm a former educator myself, so my background goes into a lot of things. So I understand kind of what goes on.
Sure.
You know, I interview people from basically 9 school districts in this area, so I kind of pretty much have a good pulse of what's going on, and I understand the generals of the district and some of the specifics.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. We appreciate you having us on. I know geographically we're kind of on the outside of the bubble, if you will. You know, you mentioned our geographic location. We are in Morrow County, as you know, majority of the district, but very close to Crawford County. And I believe we have a listenership, a readership.
Absolutely.
Things that you do. And for those of you that don't know the listeners don't know where we're at, we are pretty much in the middle of Mount Gilead and Northmor. We are surrounded by Mount Gilead and Gallion. I'm sorry. We are surrounded by cornfields, as most know. We do have a couple small towns, villages, if you will. Iberia and Johnsville. But we are 101 square miles and very rural. So any opportunity we get to get in the newspapers or the media, we greatly appreciate it because we believe we've got something pretty special going on at Northmor, and very proud of that.
Well, like I said, we have every school district that I know of on 9, and that includes, Pioneer and some others as well. So, I try to get everybody on here that we can get on because I think education is so key.
Sure.
It's key to the future of the county. It's key to everything.
Sure.
I wish some other people would really look at that a little bit more, as I'm sure you would, be a little bit more participatory.
Sure.
Thank you for my English this morning. Obviously didn't pass the grade.
Doing great. You're doing great.
At any rate, but this is why we try to have a relaxed atmosphere when we have a conversation about the school district.
Sure.
And you have a very unique school district, but a very special school district, don't you?
We sure do. Yeah, we sure do. It's a special place. I've been in 6 districts in my career in 25 years. When I reflect and look in the rearview mirror, I'm like, I'm in my 25th year in education, and as I mentioned, I've been in 6 different school districts in various roles, from a teacher to coach to assistant principal, athletic director, and I've been at Northmor for 14 years now, and my 9th year as superintendent, and feel extremely blessed and fortunate to have been there that long, and in particular to stay in the superintendent's position that long, because your life expectancy as a superintendent is typically less than 4 years in a given district, according to the state, for various reasons. Right. But it is a wonderful district. I can honestly say, and I do get paid to say this, but I genuinely mean it. It's the best school district I've had the opportunity to serve. It's just a special place.
I thought that's a good point you're making. The average life there, about 4 years on average, would be for a superintendent. You keep that up, you could be an NFL coach. If this doesn't work out,
sure.
Be an NFL coach.
I don't think there's much hope there. I'll stick to the education side of the house, but
I'm just saying there are a lot of things.
Sure.
But as you know, so many things today are based on performance. But performance isn't always. You got to look at apples to apples, oranges to oranges.
Sure.
Each district is very unique. Rural, urban. You look at poverty rates of the various districts vary greatly. People that are on reduced lunch, or all these variables come in here.
Sure.
And that's why I always try to caution people when they come on, when they'll say, well, this district's this way and this district's better than that one. Okay, but you got to understand what you're comparing.
Sure, absolutely.
And I'm not always sure people are very fair-minded about that, because quite frankly, they're not up on all these districts and the reality of a lot of situations. I always say It's like cards. You got a certain hand you were dealt, and you got to do the best with. I'm sorry if you got 9s and 10s and you need kings and aces.
Right.
It's not going to help you a lot, but you got to still work with the 9s and the 10s. And
Ab-
it's not a put down; it's reality.
It is, and culture and climates of districts are, as you mentioned, they're all built differently, and whether that be academically for programming, as you mentioned, the financial hardships of families. Every district's different, but we meet kids where they're at, whatever level they're at academically, and our job is to grow them. Whether you're behind, whether you're on track, whether you're advanced or accelerated, our job is to challenge each and every student and get them ready. Not only for graduation, for life beyond high school, whether that be careers, military, college, and again, everybody's got their journey, everybody's got their pathway. I think we've seen a tremendous or a strong shift in education. It used to be college, shoving it down kids' throats, and I still believe college is extremely important. But the career tech side of the world has really seen a upswing or an uptick, and I think that's a great thing. We have a crisis with the skilled tradespeople, and we are seeing that come back, and I'm tickled to see welders, plumbers, carpenters, masonry folks. I could go on and on. We're seeing a big need for those, big demand for those, and we're seeing more and more students getting those skilled trades and entering the workforce. And I think they're finally addressing the labor market when it comes to reasonable wages. They're starting to pay the skilled tradespeople, I believe, much more appropriate to where they should be.
Yeah, commensurate with their experience and things. Because like I said, when you got a leaky faucet or something and your water heater's got a problem on there, you got to get somebody now, and sometimes you got to wait.
Absolutely.
And I mean, this is the reality of where we're at, because a lot of the people even that I've known that were in the business, they're retiring or in the process of retiring. Well, you can't replace them as quickly as you're doing.
Sure.
You stated a lot of great things this morning, Chad, because I think myself, because I work in higher education, serving on a college board, but I'm very aware of the secondary schools and what everything that goes on there. I'm seeing a great shift in this country. I think the way that education is going to be, distributed to people is totally changing now. We see a lot more over the web. We see a lot of things, and I think I think education right now is in one of the last radical, I guess what I'm saying, it's like a castle in the time of gunpowder.
Sure.
Gunpowder has been discovered, so to speak, and the walls are going to come down because I think the whole thing right now is just very different, the playing field. And it's like you said, right now the emphasis on I need help, I need skilled help, and I need it now. Like you said, some people, they need stuff now.
Yep.
And waiting 4 years where I can get maybe 2 will expedite that. We're seeing more and more of this, and you're even seeing employers saying that they're no longer even requiring people to have a 4-year college degree.
Yep.
I'm sure you've read that. You're like me.
We do, and there's a big push for career pathways, getting more specific. I may go, to pursue my 2-year degree, my 4-year degree, and, I may enter the college, field undecided. But a lot of times now they want career pathways for kids. So, I'm sometimes deciding at a much younger age who I'm going to be in as an adult, at a younger age. And so there's a big push for that piece. I am still very old school and traditional in the sense that the way you and I were taught is still a very effective method. Teacher stands and delivers. Our bottoms are in seats, and I'm standing at we used to say chalkboards, but we don't dare say chalkboards anymore.
Yeah.
We've all got whiteboards.
Yeah.
But that's still a very effective method of educating people. That's how you and I went to school.
Right.
But with technology now, as you mentioned, there's just so many different ways to skin a cat, educate somebody, and that's what we do. And go ahead.
It's a matter of meeting people where they're at.
Absolutely.
Especially when you get into people post high school and their training beyond that, because our world is so changed.
Absolutely.
Everything from really a lack of a nuclear family. There's just so many things that have changed. I mean, I kind of feel like I'm out of Mayberry.
Right.
I mean, from the time I was actually past a little bit that time, more in the 60s,
Sure.
50s and 60s. But the fact is, I tell everybody that's in the Smithsonian Institute.
Sure.
Or up
Right.
at Greenfield Village. I
Right.
mean, that's something that was there and you talked about it.
Sure.
That's not the reality of today. And
Sure.
sadly, there's some things that I see that I'm sad to have seen that they're gone, but it's like everything else in every other period of time, there's adjustments that need to be made.
Sure.
And it's just like coaching, because I know you said you were a coach.
Yep.
Those who win are the ones that make the adjustments to the changes.
Sure.
Correct?
Absolutely. You got to stay current. You got to stay cutting edge. Unfortunately, in education, we seem at times to be a day late and a dollar short to get into the table. But I think we're getting better at that.
Yes.
But kids, every child's different. Everybody learns differently, and we now have the schools and the vehicles to drive different opportunities for kids. You know, we're really advanced in what we do, and that's education in general. And when I say that, I know I just said we're behind the times, and I sound like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth. Is we have everything at our disposal,
Sure.
to meet a child wherever they're at and work with them. And some are visual, some are auditory. Everybody learns differently. Some are hands-on, and I think now things are so broad and wide that we can meet the needs of about any situation for any child.
Well, that's a good point. You got to get the person there. You know, see, these are some things that's, like different than before. Like people in attendance. Attendance is huge.
Sure it is.
I had this discussion with Bob Britton
Yep.
from Bucyrus, I believe we were talking about. I said, if you miss a math class and some
Yep.
of these math classes, and you're out of there for
Yep.
2 or 3 days or a week,
Yep.
you're far behind because there's a it's like building blocks.
Absolutely.
And you miss those.
Yep.
And unless you go back and pick those up,
Yep.
then you get further and further behind.
I agree. Math's a very sequential thing.
Yes.
As you said, it's building blocks. You're one step on top of another, and attendance is critical. Even though we can learn from home now. We all know we have
Right.
we have so many platforms, and digital pieces to learn from. Replicating brick and mortar button seat is hard to do, and there's a direct correlation between when I'm at school, I'm generally going to be more successful with my grades than when I'm not at school. And I think that's the same.
Yeah.
That's a soft skill for life too. My employer expects me to show up and be on time and do my job when I'm there.
Yeah.
School's no different. We expect you to be on time and do your business while you're there.
Every day.
Yes.
Okay, that's the point. I think. See, I like to have conversations with these because I like to know kind of what the thoughts of people are in the district and our superintendents. And there's a lot of, I just like I say there, there's a room for all kinds of education. I'm not critical of 2-year, 4-year, or any, because I'm familiar with all of them. I'm just saying there's a role for all of them.
Sure.
But the changes, and there's things changing, and the people that, and the institutions that make those changes will be successful. So
Sure.
those will perish.
Sure.
I'm of the opinion, I think a lot of schools we just aren't going to be around eventually, post-secondary. I mean, it's just, or they're going to be reduced tremendously.
Sure.
We've got lower birth rates. There's a lot of other factors coming in here.
Yeah, we've got population decline in the state of Ohio. This AI piece is going to be interesting. I'm sure you continue to hear more about AI, and I think it's scary to educators because it can certainly be a game changer in a good way, but it can be a game changer in a not so positive way as well.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
It is. I know a lot of teachers get caught up in the idea that AI will help you cheat or aid in what you're doing. You can type something into a different AI, all these AI pieces, and it'll write your paper for you in a matter of a snap of a finger.
Right.
So we've got to find a way to deal with that and balance that out, and I believe we will. But we've got to embrace that somehow because it's not going away. We're going to have to deal with AI and learn how to navigate through that process.
It's on the path of the road that we're going down. It's just a matter of you're going to embrace it, or how do you either remove it from the road, or how do you embrace parts of what's there.
Yeah.
And I would agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, we kind of got off into a little
Yes,
bit
I'm sorry.
different than to a normal
enjoyed that.
thing, but I think it's wonderful because that we're talking about this, because this all affects every school district. And Northmor, being more of a rural district, it's going to affect these changes. Would be tremendous for all districts, but I would say especially for yours as well.
Yeah. Yep. We've got a one-to-one initiative. Every kid has a Chromebook. We don't let them take them home typically, but they're there at their disposal during the day. We're very cutting edge when it comes to technology, and I'm assuming when, as this AI plane continues to take flight and move, we'll do our best to work in that arena as well. But very busy time. Winter As you know, around Ohio, it's very cold this time of year.
Gee, I didn't know that.
Daylight is short.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we're underway with winter sports, from bowling to wrestling to basketball, getting things moving in that direction. Winter concerts are very popular during this time of year. But
you're kind of transitioning now until the, quite frankly, I call it the middle of the school year.
Yeah,
Correct? I mean,
yep. With an after Labor Day start, we our semester doesn't until late January, but it's right now you're already preparing for next year. You're getting ready to schedule. Sometime after the first of the year, really keeping an eye on your seniors. We want every senior, we want to award them with that diploma. At the end of the year, and sometimes that takes a little nudging for some of those seniors, and so we really got to keep an eye on credits and make sure kids are on track to graduate as well.
Well, it's always, having been in secondary schools, it was always amazing to me how many parents would come in and say, well, I didn't know he was behind. But back in those days, they used to get the letters, and kids would take the letters out of the mailbox. And
Sure.
There was a lot of things that kids were doing in order to not get the parent mad at them.
Yeah.
But it was always amazed me that all these things blew about May when time come graduation. And unfortunately, the ship had already left the dock many months ago.
That ship should never sail without parents knowing in today's day and age, with Progress Book, which is a digital grade book. That's what we use at Northmor. I know other folks use different platforms, but parents have 24/7, 365 access to their child's grades. And we're happy to provide that information. And if anyone listening or watching doesn't have that information, please contact the school, because we want you to have daily access to your children's classes and grades.
How would they get a hold of you or the school district? What's the best way to
they can call it. They can call the board office. They can call either one of the buildings. They can look at our website. But that's the best way to go about it. If they call the board office, we're typically going to refer them back to the building, because they have access information to that electronic grade book.
Now, I believe your web address is. Let me look now. Night Pride. Is that right? Is that still right?
Yeah, I think it's www.nightpride.org.
That's what I thought.
Which our website is I think it's a really tremendous website as well, and lots of information on there as well.
I went over it the last time I was there,
Okay.
But now I'm sorry, but I go through so many of these sites that I look at it. But yes, it is. It was a very nice site.
Yeah, and a lot of folks, we use a company out of Arkansas for that.
Yeah.
And there are some districts actually in Crawford County that use the same company we use as well. They're just really got some really neat stuff.
You like their systems. That's
do.
The whole thing. And if you like a system and the system works,
Sure.
You don't look for something that's working.
Right.
If it's working, you let it work.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, Chad, I appreciate having you on this morning. Anything else you'd like to add, maybe before we do a wrap here?
Nope. Just as always, appreciate you having me on. Encourage our students and families to keep working hard. That semester is ending, I believe, January 19th, and some of those semester classes, will be wrapping up. And then some students will start second semester classes, and then those year-long classes will be midway. So I just encourage folks to work hard and enjoy themselves during the holiday season, and keep working for that during that school year.
Well, Chad Redmond, Superintendent of the Northmor Local School Districts, I really appreciate having you on here and enlightening us what's going on in the Northmor School District and our conversations beyond just like, well, we got this scheduled and that, because I think you kind of find out the heart and soul of the district when we get into these conversations about education.
Sure. Yep.
And I wish you the very best for the remainder of this school year. We got, like you said, we'll be about midway through here in January. So thank you so much. We got you scheduled back in, so I'll be glad to have you back in. Thanks again.
Thank you.